그 유튜브 들어가서 봐보십시오. 지금 실시간 스트리밍을 해가지고. 나오지 않습니까? 화면이 이렇게 보입니다.
H 테드.
예. 실시간 스트리밍.
스트리밍.
네, 이거 보시면 클릭하시면 돼요. 예, 나왔습니다. 이쁘죠?
그러네.
파라데이가 들어가니까 이쁘지 않습니까?
그러네.
전에 그냥 그 밋밋함으로 해가지고.
화면이 이렇게 써야 되는 거 아닌가?
예?
우리한테 지금 화면 이렇게 보이잖아요.
좌우 반전이 돼 있나?
그러니까.
맞는데?
아 그래?
맞지 않습니까? 네.
그러니까 나는 우리 얼굴이 보여서 우리 여기 내 그것까지 지금 잡혀갖고.
스카이프도 한번 열어보십시오. 근데 스카이프를 열으셔가지고
뭐 통화 참가를 눌러야 돼?
예.
화장실을 다녀올게요.
통화 참가?
예. 실시간하고 유튜브하고 한 30초 정도 차이가 나옵니다.
네, 안녕하세요. 잘 들려요? 잘 들려요? 이게 왜 이렇게 소리가 크지? 잠깐만요.
이어폰을 끼십시오.
마이크가 좀 올려서 스피커 너무 컸네. 잘 들려요? 충분히?
굉장히 잘 들립니다.
예. 저 목소리도 잘 들린다니까 다행이네요. 네. 우리가 이제 실험을 지금 하고 있는 중입니다. 유튜브 두 채널을 다 열어놓으면 좀 복잡하지 않을까? 여기 다 보여지는 건가?
예.
헷갈릴 것 같아서. 오늘은 좀 잘 될 텐데. 마이크를 끄는 거 이제 알으셨으니까 본인 얘기하기 전까지는 맞죠?
들어오셨네요?
원우가 참 있습니다. 원우 그래부터는 원우 들리신가?
화면을 이렇게 해서 보십시오.
그러니까 이거 안 해도 될 것 같은데?
누구지? 저 영가이 목소리는 누구지? 영가이.
이런 식으로 가지고 한쪽 화면은 유튜브, 한쪽 화면은 스카이프.
어떻게 하냐?
반 잘라가지고요.
이렇게
네.
이건 스카이프 유튜브. 근데 이 지금
이 화면 크기를 줄이시면 돼요. 옆에 해가지고 이걸 놓으십시오. 네, 그래가지고 이거 그래서 옆에 화살표가 이렇게 모서리 쪽으로 가시면은 일단 이쪽이에요. 네, 내가 쭉 당겨보세요. 네, 줄어듭니다.
요거는 스카이프고 이게 유튜브인가?
아니요, 지금 이건 다
스카이프.
네.
유튜브를 이렇게 같이 누르면 어떻게 해요?
이걸 칸을 줄이셔야 돼요.
더?
네. 예, 됐습니다. 그래서 이쪽 바를 누르셔가지고 이렇게 보시죠. 그러면 이제 화면 보이고, 안 그러면 이것도 마찬가지로 작게 해가지고 저처럼 작게 해가지고 좀 내려보세요. 이거를 이쪽으로 네, 그렇게 해서 이렇게 보고 가십시오.
이거?
네, 이제 이거 밑으로 좀 내려서 키우시고 전체 화면 맞아요. 다시 옆으로 다시 다시 한번 빼고 가셔서 밑에 쪽으로 하시면 화살표가 나오는 내리십시오. 이렇게 다시 적어주시고 이렇게 배치하시면 돼요. 다시 클릭을 클릭하십시오. 네, 다시 올리시고 네, 됐습니다. 아, 잠깐만. 그 조절을 잘하셔야 됩니다.
이게 뭐죠? 대치 뭐죠?
Daechi TED 영어로 쳐야 돼? 실시간 하는 거구나.
이게 지금 되는 거야?
예. 그렇게 하면 되죠. 그렇게 하면 이제 이거 보시면서 스카이프도 양쪽이 다 같이 볼 수 있는 거예요. 이게 되면 이제 다음 시간부터 제가 이제 조별로
이게 10명 이상 스카이프 같은 경우는 화면이 11번째부터 안 나온다 했잖아. 그게 그렇게 되는 거고?
예, 음성으로.
음성으로 넘어가는
예,
거?
음성만.
11번째
11번째 접속한 사람부터 음성으로 넘어가는 거.
그게 한계에서 나왔다.
줌이라는 것도 있더라고요. 줌. 그래서 제가 줌을 한번 이번 주에 한번 활용을 한번 해보고.
이게 참 참여하기 쉽지 않겠네.
채팅을 하면 아니 뭐 유튜브 라이브하고 채팅할 수 있잖아요.
응?
채팅을 올릴 수가 있잖아요. 유튜브 라이브.
그렇게 해서
채널이 필요하더라고요.
채널이
내가 채널 만들어놨잖아. 내 채널에서.
그러니까 수업 듣는 사람이 채팅을 이렇게 올리려고
그렇지.
네, 채널이 필요한 거죠.
가입하면 돼, 가입.
대치 테드 코너 있잖아.
아니
유튜브에 가입을 해야 돼.
한 뭐 메인 나오나 여기다 메시지. 아빠가 유튜브에 가입을 했네 아빠는?
그렇지.
언제 했어?
예정이 있어.
여기 대출 포럼 되어 있잖아.
아니 이거 말이야 이거.
아,
이게 가입한 유튜브에 계정 있는 사람만 할 수 있는 건데.
아 그래? 나는 내 걸 했지.
웬일로?
유튜버가 되려고. 유튜브 크리에이터가 되려고.
그게 지금 딜레마예요.
베스트 조커 2020.
이게
아, 자. 이것도 무지야.
이게 뭐지?
자, TV 연결해봐.
화면 공유하는 거. 연결이요?
응.
저도 이거 충전해도 되죠?
응. 여기 보면은
네.
화면 보이게 해놨거든.
예.
지박사 들어왔네. 하이. 구리분이
이분인가?
구리분이 아니라 구리부터입니다.
짠, 막내. 뒤에 꽂아주세요.
이 시간 개념이 없어. 이 저녁 인사를 하지? 저녁 인사를 하지? 우리 저 파리에서 우리 승철 우리 만약 오늘 여기 들어오면은 아침 8시가 될 텐데 여기
아이고 아침 8시에요?
만약 들어오게 되면
네, 있다.
아이고 아침 8시에요?
뭔가 좀 레그가 있네요.
응?
라그가 좀 있네요.
화면이
그냥 되겠죠.
화면이
이거는 맞죠. 유튜브 보면 거꾸로 보이나요?
응?
유튜브로 보면 거꾸로 보이나요?
거꾸로 보이는 거야?
저희가 잠시만요. 이거 틀어볼게요. 아빠 어떻게 해 봐?
결정하지 이거
유튜브를 봐.
이게 유튜브잖아. 아니?
이건 스카이프입니다. This is 유튜브.
아까 내가 거꾸로 보낸다고 그랬는데 진짜.
원래는 거꾸로 보이잖아. 페이지가.
거꾸로 보이네. 그럼 반전을 시켜야 되겠네.
아빠가 왜 이렇게 틀리지 않아? 거꾸로 보이네요.
아까 내가 약간 우리가 내 얼굴하고 여기가 뒤에 화면을 보여서 내가 얘기를 했어.
총이 몇 번?
이거를 키우려면은
이거는 아빠가 스카이프를 쓰지 않을지 기본적으로 이렇게 나와 조그맣게 그런데 닫기를 하고
그게 좀 중간에
됐습니다 이제.
상윤이 안녕.
그러니까 이걸 하는데 내가
화면을 작게 하면 그냥 전체 화면 작게 하면
마이크 일단 꺼주세요. 저 준비하는 시간 얘기할 분은 켜놓고 얘기하시면 될 것 같아요.
말할 때만 마이크를 키는 거예요.
이거 울리는구나? 30초 얘기를 하니까
예?
울린다고 여기 지금 막 소리들이 들어오는데
예. 예?
그게 좀 한계네.
그래서 이게 줌으로 하게 되면은 줌할 때도 마찬가지고 이제 다 나머지들은 소리를 줄여야죠. 말할 때만 마이크를 켜고 말할 때만 마이크를 켜고 본인이 뭐 질문이 있거나 얘기하고 싶을 때만 마이크를 켜시고
여기 이렇게 참여하고
본인이 뭐 질문이 있거나 얘기하고 싶을 때만 마이크를 켜시고
다 알아. 사람들 다 알아.
아빠 그런 거
PPT를 아직 못 만들었어.
저도 어제 만들었어요. 비밀인데.
그게 글씨가 잘 안 보여. 화면 그 화이트보드에다가 쓸 때.
근데 그러네요.
그러니까 조금 진하게 눌러서 좀 돼. 아니면 빨간색으로 쓰면 잘 보여.
빨간색으로 또 써볼까요?
빨간색
잘 나오지. 30초 느려.
30초 드려요. 어쩐지 비슷한데요.
비슷하긴 하다. 근데 확실히 안 보인다.
그래도 없는 거보다 나으니까.
자, 상윤이 안녕. 하이 다니엘. 하이 아코마. 상윤이 안녕. 하이 다니엘. 하이 아코마.
다니엘. 운전 중에 성수강을 하고 있지.
누가 운전 중에?
이현우 씨.
운전 중이야?
Mr. Lee, are you driving? Mr. Lee, are you driving?
Oh yeah. What are you doing there? Where are you going? Oh yeah. What are you doing there? Where are you going? Hi, 상윤. 왔어? Hi, 상윤. 왔어?
여기서부터 안 보이는 거죠?
응.
Hi, Bakuma. Yeah, how are you doing? Hi, Bakuma. Say hello to our members. How are you doing? Yeah, good to see you. Yeah, good to see you. Thank you for your time. I appreciate that. Thank you for your time. I appreciate
30초
that.
느리니까 확실히 울리네요.
So you are great,
우리가 소리를 줄여.
Bakuma. You are great. Lifelong education, right?
이것도 소리를 줄여버리고.
Bakuma, you are great. Lifelong.
여기는 유튜브를 꺼.
저는 듣고
너는 유튜브를 꺼.
나는
그럼 돼. 그럼 이걸로 보면 된다.
yeah, great. Okay.
뭐 그럼 되겠죠.
이걸로 보면은 지금 실시간 돌아가고 있는 게 보이니까.
이거 소리가 잘 안 들리는데 이거 이어폰을 꽂고 해야 되는가? 원래 있는 건가? 다른 사람은 소리 잘 안 들리는데? 상관이 있는데.
그래요?
잘 안 들리는 게 있는데.
예, 좀 멀리 있으면은
멀리
안
있어서?
들리고.
괜찮아.
볼륨 올려보십시오. 편행 보세요.
너무 이쁘면 또 다른 사람들
이어폰이니까 이어폰은 상관없습니다. 그리고 소리가 작아서 안 들리는 거.
상윤, say something. So how's your weekdays? Huh? Comfortable? Are you serious? Are you serious? Alright. So you are a student. I guess you should not be comfortable. You should be, upset because you have no time to study. Don't think so? Don't think so? Alright. So we are very sorry not to see you at the TED conference. At the offline meeting.
시작하지?
시간 됐다.
이거부터 시작해야지.
근데 아직 안 보여.
안 보인다고?
화면에서 저 화면이 안 보이는데.
그냥 30초 늦어요. 그냥 하면.
그러면 어떻게 되지?
네, 그냥 저희들은 실시간으로 보는 거예요. 네.
제일
저희 여기는 현장 강의 그러든지
보세요.
예, 제가 이제 수업하게 되면은
아니 스카프에서 저기 화면을 보여주는데 안 보이잖아 지금.
아니 유튜브로 보잖아요.
유튜브?
이건 유튜브로 봐야죠.
예, 유튜브로 봐야죠.
근데 유튜브에도 지금 안 나오거든 저 화면이.
3초 늦게 나온다니까. 저 현장 화면하고 얘기하고 우리 다니엘도 지금 유튜브로 들어오라고.
다 유튜브로 들어오라 말해줘야 될 것 같아.
지금 유튜브도 같이 들어와야 되는데요.
그러니까
유튜브.
유튜브
그러니까
계정을 알려주십시오.
유튜브하고
스카이프에 쳐서 올리는
우리 스카이프를 한 반반씩 화면을 섞어서 보면 될 것 같은데 혹시 유튜브 계정 모르는 사람들은 대치 테드 포럼이라고 유튜브 검색창에다 쓰고 들어오세요. 대치동 할 때 대치 English. Okay, Daniel, can you hear me? Okay, so what it says is you need to go to a YouTube channel. Our channel name is Daechi TED Forum. So, you can share the screen by half and half YouTube and Skype. So, the name of YouTube is Daechi TED Forum, Daechi TED Forum. You got it? Yeah. Oh, yeah. You authorized it. Daechi TED Forum. All right. Dr. Moon, thank you for your coming. Yeah, good to see you again. 화면을 이렇게 좀 조정을 해서 위에 있잖아. 그죠? 이렇게 화면에 이거 이렇게 움직여 보면은 이게 지금 화살표가 마우스가 이거 왔다 갔다 하면서 이렇게 뭐 화살표가 이렇게 지금 화살표로 됐지만은 여기 끝에 되면은 이렇게 일자로 되는 게 있거든. I자로. 그럴 때 이렇게 이동시키면 돼. 핸드폰으로 해도 가능할 텐데. 근데 화면이 작아서 문제겠지만은.
저도 그 스카이프 통화를 틀어놔야 되나요?
아니,
질문 있는 사람이 어떻게 질문을?
이게
질문 있는 사람이 어떻게 질문을?
질문 있는 사람?
일단은
스카이프로 한번
이렇게
얘기하면
움직이면 보이나 내가 하는 거?
여기서 같이
상현 내가 하는 거 보여 이렇게 화살표?
너 것도 틀어놔도 상관없겠다. 우리 계속 왔다 갔다 해.
상현 이렇게 하는 거 보여?
그렇죠.
Wait a minute. 그렇게 해도 되지. 그렇게 해도 되잖아. 대전 소리만 틀어놔도 되잖아.
응?
스카이프는 소리만 틀어놔도 되잖아. 스카이프는. 대신 유튜브 화면을 보면 되잖아.
유튜브로 듣는 거죠.
그러면 저 화면은 스카이프로 봐야 돼?
이거에 대한 이해가 유튜브로 보고 듣는 거예요. 스카이프는 우리가 얘기할 때만 쓰는 거 아니에요? 그러니까 한마디로 유튜브 강의 자체는 하고 유튜브 소리를 틀어놓고 들은 다음에 오히려 스카이프 소리를 꺼놔야 되는 거 아니에요?
그렇게 하는 거?
맞죠?
상현
많은 시행착오.
상현 일단은 유튜브로 강의를 진행하는 걸로 듣고 이 스카이프는 음소거를 일단 해놓고
음소거 가능해요?
안 되면은 채팅으로 하거나 좀 알려줘. 오케이? 일단 시작을 해보지.
유튜브 다 들어오신 거죠 지금?
Everybody is in YouTube? Alright, so you got it. Vakoma, anybody else? Everybody is set, right? 준비된 것 같아. Okay, so you can go there.
잠시만요.
제가 다 설명 영어로 올려놨어요. 설명 영어로 다 올려놨거든요. 대화창에서.
지금 3명밖에 안 보고 있다는 거 맞아요? 5명이네. 이거 다 들어와야지 시작을 하지 않나요?
아니, 지금. So everybody is in YouTube, right? So you can start.
스카이프하고 병행하기 좀 힘들어.
Alright, go.
Hello?
6명이시죠? Yes, okay.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Of course you can hear me. Everyone can you hear me?
Chat on.
Jesus. Crap. Okay, so everyone can you hear me?
야, 이게 이거 함께 하는 하니까 이게 헷갈린다.
이게 이제 나중에 이제 줌으로 가야죠. 헷갈리네.
아니 스카이프 하나로 해야 돼. 두 개로 하니까 헷갈리지.
아니면 지금 다 유튜브로 들어오게 한 다음에 나중에 질의응답 할 때만 스카이프를 쓰는 건 어떨까요?
그런 애 있는지.
네.
그렇게 하든지.
그렇게 하죠. 그러면 네, 모두들 다 유튜브로 지금 들어오게 한 다음에
스카이프를 끄라고?
스카이프를 다 끄고
오케이.
그런 상관없는데.
아니
근데
화면이 아예 지금 진행이 안 되니까.
근데 헷갈려요. 그러니까 저는 안 해요. 그러니까 이게 두 개 같이 놓고 하시는 분, 왜냐면 저 하나밖에 없으니까 두 개 같이 놓고 하시는 분들은, 그리고 제 강의들 제 거 들을 때는 또 스카이프를 꺼놔야 되잖아요. 소리 듣는 거.
근데 유튜브만 하면 실시간으로 그게 없이 끊기지 않고 실시간으로 전달이 돼?
그거는 가능해요. 그러니까 유튜브를 할 때는 내가 그냥 이게 강의하게 다 들리는 거지.
Okay, everybody. So we have the problems to see between two screens. I think we'd better just focus on one screen. I'm honest, we just use YouTube, and then after he finished the lecture, and then we can move to Skype and discuss together. You know what I'm saying? Alright, then let's just move to YouTube and you just turn off the Skype at the moment. Alright, okay, thank you.
이렇게 올리면 되지. 유튜브 채트 이거 맞죠? Okay, so everyone, can you hear me?
얼굴이 나오네? 왜 얼굴이 나오네?
제가 스카이프 안 깔아서.
Okay. So 9 people watching now.
Oh, 9 people.
Yeah.
Good. Next week.
So it'll be like, so we're trying to use a new technology, so it may not be familiar, but we'll get used to it.
다 보는지 확인해봐.
Okay, are everyone watching? So everyone,
Yeah, 9.
yeah, 9.
Okay.
So can I start the lecture then? Okay, can I start the lecture? Can you answer in chat or something?
난
Like that?
알다 안 나오는데. 오케이. 계속해.
Can I start?
Yeah, we can start.
Okay. Hello. Okay, so hello, my name is Gonyoung Kim.
Yeah.
Jesus. So today, okay, so we need to cut the Skype. Yes, everybody cut the Skype. Please cut
얘네들 뭐냐 그 와이파이가
Skype. Okay, so
실시간할 때 가끔 이렇게 다시 접속하시는 것이.
So I believe everybody can hear me, and everybody is in the YouTube channel. Okay, so participants. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so let's start. Okay, we cannot delay anymore, so we'll start. Can you up the volume of the microphone? 이 마이크로폰 볼륨을 어떻게 업하죠? 이거 스피커 볼륨을 어떻게 하죠? 스피커 볼륨을 저보고 좀 높여야 하는데.
안 넣고?
네.
안 들리는데? 여기서밖에 안 되는데? 이게 들어가는 거겠네.
Okay, everyone, can you hear me? I mean, hear me well. Okay, can I start? Okay, then I'll start then. Okay, hello everyone, my name is Kim again. And then, as I informed in our TED Kakao talk, I'll do the questions first. So, okay, the questions. Yes, the quiz. So the quiz, chapter 1, demand and supply. Part 1, fill in the blanks. And then you'll start checking the answers. So market is a place or process. So the first blank should be place or process where people are buying and selling goods and services. Okay, so again, market. Okay, everyone, you can hear me, right? Okay. So I got that. Market is a place or process where people are buying and selling goods and services. So check the answers. Second thing, the demand. Demand is the quantity of goods that the consumers, buyers, the first blank will be buyers and consumers, are willing, and second blank will be willing and able. Are willing and able. So second blank will be willing and able to buy at various price level over a period of time.
이게 30초, excuse me, 이게 30초 만에 들려. 정확하게 지금 안 들려.
아빠는 그렇게 들리겠지. 그냥 아빠가 여기서 듣고 있으니까. 다른 사람들한테 30초 똑같 그냥 다 정상적으로 들리는
잘
거야.
들리는데요? 지금 듣고 있는데?
Okay, so third thing will be the third thing will be economic assumption for with other conditions remaining the same, other things being equal, is ceteris paribus. And the fourth thing, supply is the quantity of good that the sellers or producers are. The second blank will be willing and able to sell at various price level over a period of time, ceteris paribus. So fill in the blanks are all definitions. So if you check the PowerPoint or even the summary note I gave you, there will be the answer for this. So you can check it later. The part 2 is true or false. And then the first question, law of demand states there is a negative linear relationship between quantity demanded and price. This one will be true. And then the second question, change of demand, shift of demand curve is only due to the change in price of the good. This statement is false because change of demand, shift of demand curve is only due to the change in the non-price determinants of the demand. So this, on the other hand, so it should be a non-price determinant, and then change in quantity demanded move along the demand curve is only due to the change in price of the goods. So second question is false. The third question, change in income, is one of the non-price determinants of demand, is false, because change of income is one of the non-price determinants of demand of supply. So it's false. Sorry. Again, change in income is one of the non-price determinants of supply is a false statement, because change in income is one of the non-price determinants of demand. Fourth thing, the normal goods are any goods for which demand increases when income increases. This statement is true. And then the opposite of normal good will be an inferior good, which are any goods for which demand decreases when income increases. The fifth question, law of supply, states there is a positive linear relationship between quantity supplied and price. This statement is true. And then the sixth question, change in, this one is my typo, change in quantity supplied, movement along the supply curve is only due to change in price of the good. This statement is true. And then we need to note that this change in quantity supplied follows the law of supply. The seventh, which is technological changes, is one of the non-price determinants of supply. This one is true. So again, if we go through the answers, the first question will be true, second will be false, third will be false, fourth will be true, fifth will be true, sixth will be true, 7 will be true. The question part 3, fill in the box with letters. So the first question is about distinguishing the non-price determinants of demand or non-price determinants of supply. So A to H is either non-price determinants of demand or non-price determinants of supply. So the first A, change in income, is non-price determinants of demand. So this one is the summary notes. Again, we'll try to recap. A is change in income is non-price determinants of demand. Change in cost of production is non-price determinants of supply. C, change in price of the related goods, substitutes and complements is non-price determinants of demand. And then change in price of related goods, joint supply and competitive supply, it is a non-price determinants of supply. Technological changes is non-price determinants of supply. Change in number of buyers is non-price determinants of demand. G, government intervention, indirect tax and subsidy will be non-price determinants of supply, and change in taste and preference is non-price determinants of demand. So if you write the answers, non-price determinants of demand will be A, C, A, C, F, and H. And then non-price determinants of supply will be the rest of it, which is B, D, E, and G. So these are the answers for this question. And then the next thing that you need to check is the difference between the goods and services. So goods and services is a minor part of economics, however it's important to distinguish them. So A, tangible. Tangible one is the goods. So goods are tangible. On the other hand, services are intangible. And then C, can be easily compared with each other. Goods are easily compared with each other. And then D, cannot be easily compared with each other, is the services. And then E, cannot be stored and should be used immediately, are services. And then can be stored and used later, are goods. And then can be easily redeemed is good, and then cannot be easily redeemed is services. So the answers for this will be goods, will be A, probably F and G, while the others will be B, D, and then B, D, E, and H. These are the answers for these questions. Wait. Okay, so the part 4 questions, real life examples. So in this part, there are examples. For each example, determine how demand or supply is affected, whether it increased or decreased, and why is it affected. So first, for example, so this is an example question. Henry Ford implemented conveyor system in the production of cars in early 900s. What will happen to the supply of cars? So how is the supply affected? Supply will increase because conveyor system is technological changes, so it's a non-price determinants of supply. And why is it affected? Is because technological improvement. So previously they were using a very inefficient method. They were making car one by one, so it's very slow and then needs lots of labor and more waste. However, by using a conveyor system, Henry Ford was able to produce cars in a faster rate, with more efficiency, and also with a lower cost, lower labor cost, lower raw material cost. So the question 1, government subsidized the agricultural producers to ensure their revenue and stabilize their revenue. What will happen to the supply of agricultural products such as onion, wheat, or rice? So supply of the agricultural products will increase because why is the supply affected? It's because the government subsidizes it. Subsidy, before we say that it's a payment made by the government to the firms or producers to lower the cost and increase the supply. So the supply and the subsidy will lower the cost of production for the agricultural products. So this will lead to higher supply. So again, this one, the supply will increase. The reason why is subsidy lower the cost of production will lead to increase in supply. So these are the answers. The second question is, there's an economic development and increased employment which leads to increase in income. What will happen to the demand of cars? And then cars are normal goods. So normal goods, we discussed the definition in part 2, one of part 2 questions. And then how is the demand of cars affected? Since cars are normal goods, as income increase in income, the demand will increase. And then how is the demand? This one is typo. This one should be demand. Why is demand affected? So income increase, people are able to afford expensive stuff like cars, then the demand for the cars will increase. The next question will be there's the third question. There's an increase in price of Coca-Cola. What will happen to the demand for Sprite? Sprite and Coca-Cola are substitutes. So substitutes, one of the non-price determinants of demand. And then there are goods that satisfy similar needs. So how is the demand of Sprite affected? The demand for Sprite will increase because as price of Coca-Cola increase, this will lead to decrease in demand for Coca-Cola. Then this will lead to increase in demand for Sprite because these two are substitutes. And then these are the end of the questions. So everyone, did you get it right? Okay, so if there are any questions, can you leave it on YouTube comments. Okay, if there are any questions, can you leave it in YouTube comments? Then I can answer your questions now. So I'll give you like 1 or 2 minutes. If you don't have questions, you just say no question in the chat. Okay, good. Very good, very good. It's perfect. Good. Yes. No question. No question. No question. No question. No question. Okay, excellent. Okay, so I assume everyone can hear me, and then I'll start the actual thing. Yeah, thank you. Perfect explanation. Thank you. Okay, so we'll start my presentation about equilibrium. So okay, good. So review, refer to summary notes and quiz. Any questions you can ask me anytime. Okay, so next slide. So today we're trying to learn about the equilibrium. So in the previous lesson we learned about demand and supply, each of them in a separate way, in a separate manner, but in this chapter we're trying to merge it together, merge the demand and supply together. So what is equilibrium? Equilibrium is known as market equilibrium, and definition is a position of balance between demand and supply. So occurs when quantity demanded, short form QD, is equal to quantity supply, in short form QS. So in a very simple way, quantity demand equals to quantity supply. So if you want to draw the market equilibrium in a graph, it will be like this. So market equilibrium in graph, so there should be two components. First, demand and supply. And then, so the point where they intersect, so in other words, where the demand curve cuts the supply curve, here is the equilibrium point. The E part, here is the equilibrium point. And then so at the equilibrium point, you extend it to price and then quantity. Then there will be an equilibrium price, short form PE, and then there will be equilibrium quantity, short form QE. By the way, when you draw an economic graph, there should be always an x-axis and y-axis, and then there should be, each should be labeled. For example, here quantity and the price. Yes, that's the way you draw the economic graph. So you draw the axis, label them, and then draw a curve, whatever curve you want to draw. Then you should label the curve itself, demand and supply. And then also it is good to note the equivalent quantity or price that you want to show. So here is market equilibrium, and then here is equilibrium price. However, if the price level, so any price level outside the equilibrium price, so in other words, any price level that is lower or higher than the equilibrium price, this will cause market disequilibrium, which means that disequilibrium means that the demand and supply does not it's not the same. Yes, it's not the same. Yes, it's not the same. So market disequilibrium is this, and then there are two types of market disequilibrium. First type of market disequilibrium is when the price is higher than the equilibrium price. So any price that is higher than the equilibrium price will have such kind of graph. So if we check the graph, so we assume that we just pinpoint a price that is higher than equilibrium price, for example here. Then if you extend the price, is dot to the supply curve, then we can see that quantity demanded, so demanded quantity demanded stays at here, which is Q2, while the quantity supplied, so actual quantity that is supplied remains at here, which is quantity Q1. So since the quantity supplied is greater than the quantity demanded, which means that there's excess supply, so there's more supply, then this means it's a surplus. Bless you. So again, so there's if there's a higher price than the equilibrium price, it's not always, but like most of the time, the quantity supplied is greater than quantity demanded. Thus, there's an excess supply. Thus, there's a surplus. So surplus is more economical and professional way to explain this excess supply. And then the second type of market disequilibrium, which will be the price, any price level that is lower than the equilibrium price. So we just pinpoint any point. Then if you extend it to the demand, then we can see that the quantity demanded at this price level is Q4. So quantity demanded at this price level is Q4. And then the quantity supplied, on the other hand, is here. So the actual quantity that is supplied at this price level is Q3. So we can see the quantity demanded, Q4, is greater than quantity supplied, Q3. So there's an excess demand of this much. So it's a shortage. Also, so there's a shortage, or excess demand shortage. It's also the important thing to calculate shortage and surplus. So shortage is calculated by subtracting the quantity supplied from the quantity demanded. So if I write in here, so shortage, how do you calculate? Can you see it? Shortage will be quantity demanded minus the quantity supplied. In this case, it will be quantity full minus quantity 3. On the other hand, in the previous slide, the surplus is calculated by quantity supplied minus the quantity demanded, which is quantity 1 minus quantity 2. So based on what situation you're in, there's a different way to calculate shortage and surplus. So again, important thing to calculate. So the important thing about market equilibrium is, so important point first, in the free and competitive market. In Korean it will be 자유시장, probably. Which means there's no interference with the forces of supply and demand. There are many things that are applicable for this. For example, first, no government intervention. So no subsidy, no indirect tax, or no direct provision by the government. And the second thing will be there is no market failure. This one you only need to know the definition, the name of it, just for now. So there is two types: no government intervention, no market failure. So no government intervention means no tax, no subsidy, no any that's kind of direct provision. And then the second thing will be no market failure. In that condition, in the free and competitive market, price and quantity will always settle at the equilibrium values. So if we see the graph in the previous slide, so if there's no those kind of externalities, which means that no kind of those kind of tax, government intervention, subsidy, market failure, the equilibrium will always be at here. So the free market equilibrium will always be at here. And then if there's a shortage, these two are important facts, 2 and 3. If there's a shortage, excess demand will ensure that the price will increase to PE. So what it means, if there's a shortage like this situation, the price will try to go up till the PE to achieve the equilibrium. Again, so if there's a shortage like this situation, the price will try to increase to the equilibrium price to eliminate the shortage and then eliminate the shortage. So shortage does not exist anymore if the price increases. Second, third one, if there is a surplus, excess supply will ensure that the price will decrease to PE. So this is the surplus situation. If the price is greater than, so if there's a surplus, the price will decrease to PE in order to eliminate the surplus. So change in market equilibrium. Market equilibrium can change. So market equilibrium can change only if there is a change in demand, also known as shift of demand curve, or change in supply, or a shift of the supply curve. So last lesson recap, change in demand or supply, otherwise shift in demand curve or supply curve, is only due to the change from any of the non-price determinants. Non-price determinants will be important. So the reason why I keep asking you in quiz, summary notes about non-price determinants is because it can be actually used in here. So again, recap, non-price determinants of demand, number of buyers, price of related goods, substitutes, complements, taste and preferences, and income. And the non-price determinant of supply, cost of production, technological changes, price of related goods, joint and competitive supply, and joint government intervention, subsidy, and indirect tax. So again, market equilibrium can change. So if there's a change in demand, shift of demand curve, or change in supply, shift of supply curve, any shift leads to excess demand or supply. So any shift of the demand or supply curve will lead to either excess demand or supply. This one is must, almost a must situation, resulting in the new equilibrium. How do you know so what are the steps of identifying and analyzing the change in equilibrium? So first, you need to check the initial equilibrium. Important thing will be initial, I'm still bad at this. Initial equilibrium. Important thing, initial equilibrium quantity, and equilibrium price. Check the situation and determine whether demand or supply is affected and how it is affected. So whether it increased or decreased. And if you're actually drawing the graph, it'll be better to draw a new demand curve or supply curve. This entire step will be demonstrated in an example in the next slides, the following slides, so you can wait for it. The third thing, at the initial equilibrium price, check the quantity demanded and quantity supplied. What is greater, quantity demanded or supplied? So decide whether there's a surplus or a shortage. Fourth thing, if there is a surplus or shortage, what happens to the price? So next thing you check is price, and then surplus excess supply will push the price lower, so price will decrease. If shortage, the price will increase. Fifth one, if the price change, what will happen to the quantity, whether it increase or decrease, and check the new equilibrium quantity and price. So this one is quite theoretical and it's quite difficult to understand in words. So I actually have an example for you. So first case will be change in demand, shift of demand, and we'll check the equilibrium and equilibrium of mass. So the initial equilibrium, so initially we don't have this demand curve, a D2, and then initially the equilibrium of mass will be between supply 1 and then demand curve 1. So the equilibrium will be at here, this blue dot will be the equilibrium, and it'll have equilibrium quantity of QE and then PE. Again, initial equilibrium where D1, demand curve 1, equals to supply 1, supply curve 1. Equilibrium price at PE, equilibrium quantity at QE. However, due to the novel coronavirus, increase in number of buyers of masks, non-price determinants of demand. So again, number of buyers is the non-price determinants of demand, and then increase in number of buyers indicate that the demand for the mask increased. So demand curve shifts to the right from D1 to D2. So since there's an increase in number of buyers, the demand for the mask increase, then the demand curve shifts to the right. So demand D1 shifts to D2. And also it is important to show the dynamic changes. Dynamic changes by arrow. So this arrow shows the actual changes of demand curve shifting from D1 to D2. The second thing that we need to note, so if the demand for the mask increase, demand curve shift from here to here. As demand increase at initial equilibrium price PE. So when you check whether there is a shortage or surplus, you need to always check the equilibrium price, initial equilibrium price at PE. You extend the PE until the new demand curve D2. So this one to use you need to use your brain. I mean, you need to think. So first, so you need to check that. So it's quite difficult to explain. So at D2, right? So first thing to check is quantity demanded at. So first thing to check is quantity demanded. So new quantity due to the new demand curve, the new quantity demanded will be Q2. Again, so due to the new demand curve, if you extend the PE initial price the new quantity demanded will be Q2. On the other hand, quantity supplied, which did not change, the supply curve did not change, thus the quantity supply still remains at here, QE. Do you understand this well? Again, so due to a new demand curve, if you extend from PE, the quantity demanded, there's a new quantity demanded which is Q2. On the other hand, supply, which did not change, so supply did not change, so the quantity supply still remains at QE. So the quantity demanded is greater, Q2 is greater than QS, the quantity supply, the QE. So since there's an excess demand is greater than supply, so there's a shortage, excess demand. And as talked before, since shortage, price of the mask will start to increase to bid up from PE to eliminate shortage. So since there's a shortage, the price will try to increase. Then why the price will try to increase? It's because there's a shortage. Okay, sorry. In this shortage, price of the mask will start to build up from PE. So it will try to increase. So it does not, we assume that it does not increase right here to here, but it increases like little by little by little. So as the price of the mask increase, the quantity demanded for the mask decrease. This follows the law of demand. This one will follow the law of demand. So as the quantity demanded for mask, if the price of the mask increase, the quantity demanded for mask decrease along the demand curve. So quantity demanded will start to decrease along the demand curve. So try to decrease as the price increase. Reason why? There are various reasons, but the most simple way is some people may believe mask is too expensive and they'll start buying less. Okay. Then the second is quantity supply. So quantity supply is here. Quantity supply is QE, and quantity supply for the mask will increase along the supply curve. So along this part. Reason why? Since price of mask increased, so production of mask becomes more profitable. Thus, the producers want to produce more. Thus, the supply will increase. So supply from QE will try to increase. So eventually, this increase in quantity supplied and decrease in quantity demanded will continue until the shortage is eliminated. So as you see, as the price increase, so as price increase from P to P1, the shortage decreases. 그러니까 이 quantity demanded와 이 quantity supply의 이 간격이 이 가격이 올라가면 올라갈수록 더 줄어드는 걸 볼 수가 있으니까 이 shortage, 즉 excess demand가 줄어든다는 걸 볼 수가 있죠. So the new equilibrium blocker where the new demand curve D2 cuts original supply curve S1. So new equilibrium blocker at this blue dot. So new equilibrium will be point will E1, new equilibrium quantity Q1, new equilibrium price at P1. Everyone, can you understand? Do you understand this? Can you? Oh, wait. There are questions. Maybe. Okay. Until this point, do you have any questions? You can upload it in YouTube chat. Oh, Jesus. Okay, wait. Okay, check YouTube now. Any questions now in YouTube? Thank you. Okay, so the question for Mr. Park, government interventions such as price limit on real estate, how it affects our market. So this one is, we're gonna study this part later, but so price limit, right? Okay, this one, so price limit in real estate. Okay, this one will be better to explain. Graph. So I'll draw a graph, new graph here. Wait. This price limit means lower bound or upper bound. This price limit on real estate is lower bound or upper bound?
Upper bound, yeah, it depends on. Sometimes they just set upper bound. 가격 상한제, 부동산 가격 상한제, 분양가 상한제.
상한제 하는 거지. 그러니까.
네.
Okay, so I'll draw a graph. So this is price of real estate quantity of real estate. Okay, so what? So initially the equilibrium should be at here, where demand of house constants supply of house. So initially equilibrium should be at here. So price of the house will be here, quantity of the house should be here. However, if the government sets a price limit and then they believe that, so usually price of houses are very high. I don't know, like it'll be like 얼마죠? 10억 한다고 칩시다. So we assume that it's 10억 won. So it's very high, so people cannot afford it. 뭐 분양가, I don't know. 분양가 상한제. Then, so the government, what government does is they set a lower price limit. So they just set the price in here. So this is price of house that is set by the government. So they just set the price lower than the equilibrium price. It's much cheaper, right? For example, they say like 3억. Then it's cheaper, so it can be affordable to more people. However, the problem of this thing is that in this price level, PHG, that's set by the government, quantity supplied is lower than the equilibrium quantity. However, the quantity demanded are greater than the equilibrium quantity. So this one is shortage of houses in this price level. So fewer people get, so at the people can actually buy only this much of house due to this price limit that is set by the government. So people can actually buy only this much of house. However, the quantity demand is this much. So basically, people don't get that much houses. So these people cannot afford, these people, quantity cannot be afforded by people. So these number of houses cannot be afforded by people. So this kind of price limit, is it price ceiling, right? Yes, price ceiling. It is known as price ceiling, I believe. It will be either price ceiling or floor. This will be probably price ceiling. So this kind of price ceiling of limiting the maximum will cause shortage. However, the shortage should remain. Shortage should remain. So again, 다시 한번. So initially there should be PH and QH. However, government sets the price at here. Then quantity supplied is here, quantity demanded is here. Shortage exists. Shortage remains because price cannot go up because government set it. So price cannot go up. So shortage remains. Then these people can only buy houses. These houses cannot be bought. Does that answer your question? Yes, price cap, exactly. Good. Perfect. Does this answer your question? So again, actually we'll learn this in next chapters, like several few chapters later, but this is the basic concept of it. This was known as price price ceiling, I think price ceiling, maximum price. Yes, maximum price. Does this answer your question, Mr. Park? Okay, we'll go now, and then if you have any questions, you can ask me later. So again, this one done. Now the change in supply, shift the supply curve. This one I'll use a more traditional example, which is equilibrium of cost. Initial equilibrium again occurs when D1 equals to S1. Equilibrium price will be at PE, so equilibrium point, equilibrium price, and equilibrium quantity at QE. So Henry Ford's conveyor belt system is a technological improvement of production of cost. So as I explained, just before. Henry Ford's conveyor system is more efficient, more time efficient, more time saving, and then also less waste, fewer resources are required. Previously, before the conveyor belt, since they produce one car at a time, the production of cars are much more slower, more time consuming, less cost efficient, and something like that. So the technological improvement is one of the non-price determinants of supply. So technological improvement causes the supply for the car increase. So the supply curve shifts to the right from S1 to S2. So supply curve S1 shifts to S2. So this is a arrow to show the dynamic changes. The next thing, the supply for the cars increase. Supply curve shifts to the right from S1 to S2. As supply increase at initial equilibrium price QP. So again, we need to check the initial equilibrium price. So we extend the initial equilibrium price all the way to supply 2. Then, since quantity demanded, the demand curve did not change. The quantity demanded will still remain at the equilibrium quantity. However, since supply had increased, there's a new supply curve. There will be a new quantity supplied of Q2 here. So quantity supplied will be Q2, quantity demanded will be QE. Since the quantity supplied Q2 is greater than the quantity demanded QE, there will be a surplus of this much, the Q2 minus QE, and there's an excess supply. Since surplus, price of cars will start to fall from P to eliminate surplus. So since there's a surplus, the price of cars will start to decrease, and decrease. Okay, so since surplus, price of cars start to fall from PE, as the price of the car decrease, the quantity demanded for the car increase along the demand curve. So, as the price of the cars decrease, some people may think that they are able to afford it because cars are now cheaper, so they start buying more. Secondly, the quantity supply for the car will decrease along the supply curve because since the price of car decrease, production of car becomes less profitable, thus they want to produce less. So the quantity demanded will increase, this one will decrease, and the price will start to decrease. Also, it's important that it's along the demand curve, along the supply curve. This one is a very small but important point. This continues until the surplus is eliminated. So as the price decreases, again, surplus decreases. So quantity demanded quantity supply 간의 간격이 점점 줄어들기 때문에 surplus가 price가 decrease를 하면서 surplus가 줄어든 것이 확연히 보이죠. The new equilibrium where original demand curve D1 cuts the new supply curve S2. So the new equilibrium at here. New equilibrium, the new blue dot, new equilibrium quantity at Q1 and new equilibrium price at P1. Okay, so these are the equilibrium. So equilibrium, there may be other situations, so these are the references. There may be different situations that you can apply the actual equilibrium. So there are many real life examples that you can apply this equilibrium. So yeah, better try it yourself. And then this is end of equilibrium, but the one more thing that I want to share is how to calculate the numerical values of the equilibrium. So I brought one of my past year papers. So this is the thing that I actually study. So this one is economics higher level paper 3. This one is actual test paper. And then I actually uploaded in Skype, so if you want to check, you can check Skype, and then if you want to check, you can actually check in Skype, and then so these are the equivalent questions, and then the thing that I want to show you is this part. So how do you express demand and supply in numerical forms? So numerical formula. So first of all, we're going to study the quantity. We're going to study how to express the demand curve first. So demand curve. There will be two important things, which is quantity demanded and price. So okay, so this I've done it a lot. So quantity demanded equals to whatever 상수 minus a price. So the important thing that we need to note is this minus over here, because we learned that demand curve is downward sloping, so there should be a negative gradient. So okay, let's put it this way. So in this graph, let's see this graph. So the x is quantity. Let's say quantity demanded. Y is price. So if you do want to do this, I'm not good at math, so x and y will be these, and then you can express it in this way. So the most important thing about this is that whenever you want to express demand, you introduce quantity demand and price, and then in front of price there should be a negative downward sloping negative gradient, and then quantity supply equals to whatever 상수 plus AP H. The important thing is first quantity supply, quantity and the price, and also the plus sign, because we learned that the supply curve is upward sloping, so we should have a positive gradient. Yes, it should have a positive gradient. So coefficient of the P should be positive. Okay, so this question I'll give you as a quiz for the next week. So I think you can solve until this part, question part A. If you want to try, you can do until part B. So for subsidy, I'll upload a new formula for this. You can actually try this. So if I have more those kind of past year papers, I'll send it to you some more, the numerical values. So if you learn this numerical way to actually solve demand and supply, you're able to explore even more about demand and supply. You're able to apply in more areas. So that's all for today. So return to Skype. Do you have any questions? Okay, wait. So the lecture is still here, and then do you want to ask questions by YouTube, or you want to use Skype for more lively? Yes, more light on the question. Yes, of course. Yeah, sorry, I just checked it. Okay, Mr. Daniel, Dr. Bakoma, can you add more to this question? Yes. Yes. Elasticity. Yes, that one I didn't. Yeah, I didn't. Wait. Okay, can you add more to this question? Sorry, I just checked the question. So, can you ask questions through YouTube for this real estate thing? Real estate. questions first? On also the real estate thing. But the thing is that the real estate, right, in some states like New York or Mumbai, they actually have a very low price ceiling for the rent. Actually, it may be different for our country because our country has all this kind of 분양 or 전세 or whatever. But in some some states like India, Mumbai, or where is it? New York, they have those kind of price limit for rent controls. So they say rent controls. So it may be possible to set a price limit on rent, but actually real estate, your point is valid. It may not be applicable that much. So rent applicable, but real estate it may not be applicable. So okay. So no questions then. Okay then. Well, let's move to 원장님.
5-minute break then.
5-minute break. Yes. Okay, during 5-minute break, any questions allowed? Thank you.
그쵸?
스카이프도 보지 않아도 되겠지.
스카이프는 시간이 많이 지나서.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.
이게 여기서 있어서 그런지 실시간으로 나는 안 잡히는데 다른 사람은 실시간으로 잡힌가?
실시간은 다 잡히는데요.
나는 아니야. 난 실시간으로 안 잡혀.
그래요?
권혜가 얘기하는 게 실시간으로 안 들려.
30초 늦게 들려요.
그래.
네.
그러더라고.
원래 그래요.
원래 그런 거야?
네.
여기서 들리니까 당연히 그렇지. 아빠 내가 얘기하는 것도 이거 내가 얘기하는 거하고 이것도 얘기하는 거 같이 듣잖아. 내가 30초 언제 얘기하는 거라고?
실시간으로 해도
그러면 다른 사람들 실시간 듣는 거지. 아 불안할 것 같아.
다른 사람들은 다 실시간으로 듣는 거예요.
왜냐면 내가 얘기하는 게 안 들리잖아. 그러니까 이것만 듣고 있는 거지.
어쨌든 여기서 있을 때는 나는 그냥 빨리 요청하는 게 맞지.
그렇죠. 이게 현장 강의 할 때는
고생했어.
현장 강의하고 너무 많이 차이가 나죠.
근데 지수하라는 분이 누구야?
지기영 아저씨. 지기영 아저씨.
지수하? 아 그래?
딸 컴퓨터 들어왔대서.
그런가? 물어봤겠거든. 내가 리얼 에스테이트하고 예를 들었는데 거기도 착각인 거지. 박상호 아저씨만 물어봤으니까 내가 다 들었는데 여기서는 정말 내가 다 들었는데
앞으로 스카이프는 쓸 거예요. 앞으로 스카이프는 쓸 거예요.
줌을 다음 주는 줌을 한번 써보자고요. 줌.
하나는 정착을 시켜야 할 것 같아요. 헷갈려. 하나는 정착시켜야 될 것 같아요.
줌은 또 다 가능하거든요. 네.
스카이프에서 줌 기능이 있다고? 그
아니요. 줌이라고 따로 또 있어요.
따로 있어?
네.
유튜브도 아니고.
네.
근데 일단 우리가 좀 먼저 해서
내일 오후에 줌 한번 깔아가지고 한번 해보죠. 다 줌이 다 로그인이 돼 있어야 돼요. 대신.
그러니까.
네.
근데 자꾸 이렇게 왔다 갔다 하면 좀 헷갈리지 않을까?
한번 시도해 봐야겠는데.
저는 안 헷갈리는데 다른 분들이 많이 헷갈리시는 것 같아서. 왜 이렇게 가지?
코로나가 없어져서 다시 만날 때가 있어야
그 제가 그 카페 그 메일로 지금 해놨거든요. 그 저거 지금 파워포인트 올려놨거든요.
카페?
예.
우리 테드코는
아니 그 메일로 선생님한테 보냈습니다. 그거 제가 지금 컴퓨터 핸드폰을 쓰고 있어서 핸드폰 지금 촬영 중이어서 못 쓰니까 카톡에다가 그 파워포인트 다 올려주시면 됩니다.
아니 그러니까 우리 카페 들어가서
아니 제가 메일로 오늘 메일로 보냈습니다. 회원님 메일.
네 메일을
예.
메일 들어서 확인해야 돼요.
예. Okay, let's start. I have 35 minutes. Today so we're gonna start about the Kang Kyung-hwa BBC interview. The last Monday, and it's got a big hit around the world. And then I got a lot of review and the reputation. So many Korean nations. Last week I told you, right? The Korean nations got a touch, got moved a lot of through the Kang Kyung-hwa's the interview. Okay, I just compiled several things and then some key sentence. Okay, let's start. Let's listen first.
Thank you, Mr. Mark.
Thank you. You have adopted a particular strategy towards this. Just explain to us the basis of your strategy.
This is English. British sound is so fast. Okay, listen. Like that. So I just make some. Can you fill in the blank? Can you fill in the blank? Listen one more time.
Thank you, Mr. Mark.
Thank you. You have adopted a particular strategy towards this. Just explain to us the basis of your strategy.
Very simple for me. Okay, that one is like that. This first one, so 취해왔다 is not drunken. So 취해왔다 is get something, do something. Is that we said have adopted. So APT and ADOPT, those are different. So ADOPT is to choose, select. APT means to change. APT is to change. ADOPT is the difference. Yeah, next one is the 특별한 전략. What do you think about that? 특별한 전략. 특별한? Special? I told you that special is different. So we have to say use the particular strategy or extra strategy. So particular strategy. And you say this one, a particular strategy. 3, 2, 1. Particular strategy. So what about 취해왔다? Have adopted. Have adopted. Okay, when you make the sentence. So 코로나 바이러스에서 특별한 전략을 취하셨던데요. So the interviewer asked the interviewee. So our foreign minister 강경화 is that the first question is about this one. You have adopted a particular strategy toward the coronavirus. Okay, so you have adopted a particular strategy toward coronavirus. Next one is the 전략의 기초. What is 전략의 기초? Strategy, we know the strategy, but he used this another one. The basis of your stress. This stress is not the mental disease. This kind of that emphasized things to be said. Use the stress. So basis of your stress. What about this one? 전략의 기초를 설명해 주시겠어요? That's a full sentence. Just explain to us basis of your stress. Okay, let's listen one more time.
Thank you, Mr. Mark.
Thank you. You have adopted a particular strategy towards this. Just explain to us the basis of your strategy.
Okay, can you understand? Okay, let's say together 3, 2, 1. You have adopted a particular strategy toward this. Just explain to us the basis of your stress. Okay, do you understand? So British sound, British sound, so beautiful, but it's really hard to understand, how to listen. Okay.
Well, the basic principle is openness, transparency, and fully keeping the public informed. And I think this is paying off. We have a very good healthcare system.
Okay, what about this one? What did you say?
Well, the basic principle is openness, transparency, and fully keeping the public informed. And I think this is paying off. We have a very good healthcare system.
So a lot of blank. So try to fill in the blanks because I only upload the file. Okay, what is the 기본 원칙? 기본 원칙. 기본 원칙 is the basic principle. Basic principle. That's the 기본 원칙. Okay, another one is the 솔직함과 투명성. 투명성, 솔직함, openness and transparency. Openness and transparency. 근데 기본 원칙은 솔직함과 투명성이다. 기본 원칙은. Okay, how can make sentence? The basic principle is openness, transparency. You can put the and. Okay, let's say together 3, 2, 1. The basic principle is openness and then transparency. Openness and transparency. It's not hard. It's not difficult. Okay, next one. 국민들. A lot of things, right? 국민들. Here we say the public. The public. And then 계속 알려주는 것. Keep going. Something tell. Keep going. So we say with the keep ing, keep informed, and then we put the fully, the verb fully. So fully keep somebody informed. Fully keep somebody informed. That's the structure. 그리고 국민에게 계속 사실 알려주는 것, and fully keeping the public informed. Fully keeping the public informed. Don't forget informing, informed, because the public, they get the news from the government, like the passive stance. So the keep public informed. 효과 보고 있다. What is 효과? Effective. You learn the effective, but she used a very unique expressions. Paying off. Paying off means if you got some debt, some loan from the bank or from somebody, so you pay all of them. You can use the pay off, and another meaning is the very, very effective way. So 제 생각에 지금 효과를 보고 있다고 봅니다. That's the good. How can you say that? 제 생각에 I think 지금 효과를 보고 있다고 봅니다. That's right. I think this is paying off. Very simple. Very simple, but this is very strong sentence. So I think this is paying off. Let's say that 3, 2, 1. I think this is paying off. This is paying off. 네, 저희 우선 굉장히 훌륭한 의료체계가 잡혀 있습니다. 우선, what's the 우선? To begin with. When we can use the to begin with in the beginning of sentence, in the middle, and at the end of sentence, it depends on your opinion. So you can use any location. Okay, this one. We have a very good healthcare system to begin with. She put the to begin with at the last. So let's say together 3, 2, 1. We have a very good healthcare system to begin with. One more time. We have a very good healthcare system to begin with. 저의 기본 원칙은 솔직함과 투명성이고 국민들에게 사실을 계속 알려주는 것. That's a full sentence. Okay, do you understand? This one. Do you remember that? The basic principle is openness, transparency, and then fully keeping the public informed. Okay, can you say that one more time? Okay, good. I'll check this one. Okay, together, 3, 2, 1. The basic principle is openness, transparency, and fully keeping the public informed. Okay, next sentence. 제 생각에 지금 효과를 보고 있다고 봅니다. I think this is paying off. Simple. I think this is paying off. Right? Then the last one. 저희 굉장히 훌륭한 의료 체계를 잡혀 있습니다. What's that? So we have a very good healthcare system to begin with. We have a very good healthcare system to begin. Instead of good, we can use the another one. Extraordinary. Right? Therapy. We can use that. Okay, let's listen.
Well, the basic principle is openness, transparency, and fully keeping the public informed. And I think this is paying off. We have a very good healthcare system.
Okay, we have a very good healthcare system. Okay, next one.
You've also got the most extraordinary testing system. You're testing, I think, 20,000 people a day, which is far more than any other country of your size. How have you managed to achieve this, and why is testing central to what you're doing?
Okay, do you understand?
You've also got the most extraordinary testing system. You're testing, I think, 20,000 people a day, which is far more than any other country of your size. How have you managed to achieve this, and why is testing central to what you're doing?
Okay, so his question is very sharp, right? So,
you've also got the most extraordinary testing system. You're testing, I think, 20,000 people a day, which is far more than any other country of your size. How have you managed to achieve this, and why is testing central to what you're doing?
Okay. Okay, the first sentence. 뛰어난 test system. 뛰어난 person. Super, excellent. He used this one. The most extraordinary testing system. So what is the 뛰어난? Extraordinary. That's the extraordinary. 가장 뛰어난, the most extraordinary testing system. Can you say that? The most extraordinary testing system. Because our test system is very, very wonderful. And then 한국은 또한 뛰어난 테스트 시스템이 있죠. That's the full sentence. Oh, this one. So you have also got the most extraordinary testing system. That's the full sentence. Let's say that 3, 2, 1. You've also got the most extraordinary testing system. One more time. You've also got the most extraordinary testing system. Okay, next one. 다른 나라에 비해 많은. Compare. 다른 나라에 비해 많은. Then we can use the then, right? The more than any other country. More than any other. If I want to emphasize one more, very much. So I just put the 훨씬. What kind of word she used? This one. Far more than other country. far more than, very more. Instead of using very, so we can't use very in the comparison expression. So far more than any other country. Far more than any other country. Can you say that? 3, 2, 1. Far more than any other country. One more time. Far more than any other country. Okay, and 한국은 하루에 2만 명을 테스트합니다. How can you say 2만 명? 2만 명. 1,000, and then we need 2 more digits, right? So 20,000. 20,000. Okay, so you are testing 20,000 people a day. People a day. 하루에 2만 명으로 같은 규모의 다른 나라에 비해 훨씬 많은 숫자입니다. So we combine all sentence. Can you say that? 하루에 2만 명으로 다른 규모의 나라들에 비해 훨씬 더 많은 숫자입니다. It's like that. So you're testing 20,000 people a day, which is far more than any other country of your size. Right, that's correct. So I don't want to mention about Japan. So all around is going to be crazy. So, but I think that they can do that. They can block. They can handle it. I hope so. 이런 일을 이룰 수 있었는지요. Say, you managed to achieve this. You managed to achieve this. So how have you managed? They ask it, how have you managed? I forgot to put the how. How have? 테스트를 왜 중심에 두는지. So that means the important. Central means sometimes the important. Instead of using so important, so central, they can use that. But that's the British expression, not American expression. So British expression, testing. So why is testing central? So why testing is important? You get it? So what is the central? Central means one of the other expression in England. They use that as the central. Okay, why is testing central? So 테스트를 중심에 두고 하는지 why? Why is testing central to what you are doing? What you are doing? And then this is the full sentence. 어떻게 이런 일을 이룰 수 있었는지와 테스트를 왜 중심에 두는지 말씀해 주십시오. 어떻게 이룰 수 있는지. So how have you managed? How have you managed? You know, so like the ironically, so Monday night, so after I listened the interview, so I decided to typing before the script open. There are two versions. So I used the have you managed, but some other guys is however you manage it too. So no, that's not. Okay, so why is the testing central to what you are doing? Oh, it's kind of a little long. Okay, let's say together the last one. 3, 2, 1. How have you managed to achieve this? And why is testing central to what you are doing? One more time. How have you managed to achieve this? And why is testing central to what you are doing? So test is very important. 한국은 또한 위대한 테스트 시스템이 있죠. So how can you say that? So you also got the most extraordinary system. That's the full sentence. You are testing. Then which is far more than any other country of size. Then how have you managed to achieve this? And why testing central to what you are doing? Okay. So now you can understand. Let's listen one more time.
You've also got the most extraordinary testing system. You're testing, I think, 20,000 people a day, which is far more than any other country of your size. How have you managed to achieve this, and why is testing central to what you're doing?
Okay, now you guys can listen clearly, right? So far more than. So how have you guys?
Well, first of all, testing is central because that leads to early detection. It minimizes further spread, and it quickly treats those found with the virus. And I think that's the key behind our very low fatality rate as well. I think that.
Okay, so during the interview, so our foreign minister Kang Kyung-hwa, so she never look up to any script. She never look up to any paper. Yeah, just she responds in short time, and she used in her memorize and in her experience as it is. Okay, this one more time.
First of all, testing is central because that leads to early detection. It minimizes further spread, and it quickly treats those found with the virus. And I think that's the key behind our very low fatality rate as well. I think that.
Okay, let's try. 우선 테스트를 중심에 두는 것은 what's that? First of all, testing is central. We learned that, right? And then 그것이 빠른 감지로 이어지기 때문입니다. 빠른 감지 what's that? Early detection. So because that leads to early detection. 이어지기 때문입니다. So use leads. So because that leads to early detection. And then 우선 테스트를 중심에 두는 것은 그것이 빠른 감지로 이어지기 때문입니다. Can you make sentence? I'm gonna give 10 seconds. Okay, good. Let's do it together. This one. First of all, testing is central because that leads to early detection. Okay, say it together. 3, 2, 1. First of all, testing is central because that leads to early detection. Okay, next sentence. 확산을 최소화하고. What is the 확산? That's right, spread. So further spread. So it minimizes further spread. 감염자를 빠르게 치료하며, 감염자. So quickly treat those who are found with the virus. So the other expression is that she used the confirmed positive cases during the interview. She used the confirmed positive cases, but here just use the those. Just one of tips. So whenever you read, whenever you listen something, so whenever you those, that means the people. So don't be confused. Those is the people. So 감염자를 빠르게 치료하면 quickly treat those found with the virus. And 확산을 최소화하고 감염자를 빠르게 치료하며 it minimizes further spread and it quickly treats those found with the virus. Okay, let's say it together. It minimizes further spread and it quickly treats those found with the virus. Next one, 사망률. What's the name of 사망률? That's right, fertility rate. 사망률 낮은? Yeah, low fertility rate. Very low fertility rate. And then 그것이 우리에게 사망률 낮은 이유의 핵심입니다. 핵심. Think about the 핵심. What's the 핵심? That's right here. The key. Yeah, that's the key behind our very low fertility rate as well. Okay, let's read 3, 2, 1. That's the key behind our very low fertility rate as well. So early detection and test, that's very important. 오케이, 우선 테스트를 중심에 두는 것이 그것이 가장 빠른 감지로 이어지기 때문입니다. Okay, what's that? First of all, testing is central because that leads to early detection. 확산을 최소화하고 감염자를 빠르게 치료하며 Yeah, that's right. It minimizes further spread and it quickly treats those found with the virus, and that the key behind our very low fertility rate as well. Okay, listen one more time.
Well, first of all, testing is central because that leads to early detection. It minimizes further spread and it quickly treats those found with the virus. And I think that's the key behind our very low fatality rate as well. I think that.
Okay, listen, right? Okay, question again.
You monitor people afterwards. You're not going into the same kind of lockdown, social exclusion that a lot of European countries are, but instead you're monitoring people by phone app. Again, can you explain why you're doing that and not closing down large chunks of your country?
Do you understand? Close down, shut down is right. The European country closing down, shut down, but we are different. So why? So he asked it. Okay, this one.
You monitor people afterwards. You're not going into the same kind of lockdown, social exclusion that a lot of European countries are, but instead you're monitoring people by phone app. Again, can you explain why you're doing that and not closing down large chunks of your country?
Okay. The first one. 한국은 다른 유럽 국가들처럼. So instead of Korea, so we use the you. You are not going into the same of European country. You are not going into the same. Instead of using like, so you are not going into the same kinds of European country. 봉쇄나 사회격리. What's 봉쇄? Lockdown and then 사회격리, social exclusion. So lockdown, the social exclusion. Then 한국은 다른 유럽 국가들처럼 봉쇄나 사회격리를 하지 않고. So you are not going into the same kind of lockdown and the social exclusion that a lot of European countries are. A lot of European countries are, right? So we have very different system. So 대신 휴대폰 앱으로 사람들을 모니터하고 있고요. So instead, you are monitoring people by phone app. That's important. By phone app. So later she mentioned about IT. Okay, this one. 한국은 다른 유럽 국가들처럼 봉쇄나 사회격리 등을 하지 않고 대신 휴대폰 앱으로 사람들을 모니터하고. That's miracle. That's miracle. So you are not going into same kind of lockdown, social exclusion that a lot of European countries are. Instead of you are monitoring people by phone app. Such a long. Okay, let's do together 3, 2, 1. You are not going into same kind of lockdown, the social exclusion that a lot of European countries are. Instead of you are monitoring people by phone app. 대신 다시 한번 설명해 주시겠습니까? So again, can you explain? 다시 한번 왜 이런 일을 하는지 설명해 주시겠어요? So again, can you express why you are doing that? Why? Because they don't understand. Instead of the lockdown and the closure, they just release the patient, release the people, and they just tracking and monitoring through the phone app. 국가의 대부분을 봉쇄하지 않고, so not closing down large chunk of your country. 국가의 대부분, what's that? The large part, large chunk. Instead of part, she used the chunk. He used the chunk, right? Large chunk of your country. Large chunk of your country. Try to use this expression instead of a part. And then 다시 한번 왜 국가의 대부분을 봉쇄하지 않고 이런 일을 하는지 설명해 주시겠어요? Okay, it's like that. Again, can you explain why you are doing that? And not closing down a large chunk of your country. Okay, let's say it together. 3, 2, 1. Again, can you explain why you are doing that and not closing down a large chunk of your country? 다시 한번. Okay, sorry. This one is like that. Okay, so we don't have time, so I'm going to do fast. Okay, listen one more time.
You monitor people afterwards. You're not going into the same kind of lockdown, social exclusion that a lot of European countries are, but instead you're monitoring people by phone app. Again, can you explain why you're doing that and not closing down large chunks of your country?
Understand? So in the middle, so he used the phone app. It's like the phone app. Phone app is like one word. The phone app. That's difficult to understand.
Well, I think this is being faithful to the values of our very vibrant democracy, which is open and the government fully in the service of the people. And I have to say, our public is very demanding and expects the highest standards from government services. And I think this is the key, the drive of our response to this.
In personal, I like this part. So when I heard this part, I feel touched. I feel touched because this is Korea. Okay, let's.
Well, I think this is being faithful to the values of our very vibrant democracy, which is open and the government fully in the service of the people. And I have to say, our public is very demanding and expects the highest standards from government services. And I think this is the key, the drive of our response to this.
Okay, let's analyze the first one. 활기찬 민주주의 가치. What is the 활기찬 민주주의 가치? 활기찬 is the vibrant democracy. So 가치 is the values, right? So the values of our very vibrant democracy. Because we made the candlelight revolution without any violence, so that's the vibrant democracy. So 열려있는 활기찬 민주주의 가치. What's that? The value of our very vibrant democracy, which is open. 열려있는, which is open. And then 신념 있게 지키려고. This is being faithful. This is being faithful. This is really good expression, but it's not easy to memorize. It's not easy to use, but speak and memorize. Try to use it. So this is the being faithful to what? 열려있는 민주주의 가치를 신념 있게 지키려 하는 것. So this is being faithful to the value of our very vibrant democracy, which is open. Very wonderful sentence. Okay, let's say together 3, 2, 1. This is being faithful to the value of our very vibrant democracy, which is open. Then 정부가 국민을 위해 최선을 다해 일하기. What's that? The government fully in the service of the people. So she used the service instead of work or do the service. The government serve the public. That's her mind, I think. So government fully in the service of people. So in this, I respect our officials of government. So 열려있는 활기찬 민주주의 가치를 신념 있게 지키려 하는 것이고 또 정부가 국민을 위해 일하기 때문입니다. Let's check together this one. Let's say together 3, 2, 1. This is being faithful to the value of our very vibrant democracy, which is open and the government fully in the service of the people. Why government do that? So she explained this one. 저희 국민은 기대치가 굉장히 높다. 봤을 때 기대치가 굉장히 높다. 기대치가 so high standard, so high. That's right. She used the demanding. Simple. So our public is very demanding. So demanding has kind of the negative meaning. So because when I get the blind meaning, so one of my friends introduced another lady, and I got a blind meaning in my university, not right now. So and then so the lady asked me, so how is she? So oh, she's so demanding. So that case is not good, right? But this one is the difference. Our public is very demanding. So for our public is so demanding. No, our public. So our people's expectations, the standards is really high, really high. That's one is kind of the respect. So our public is very demanding. And then 최고 기준을 예상. Quite expect the highest standard. So right there, demanding is the highest standard. Think about that. And then 정부 서비스의 최고 기준을 예상하고 있다. We quite expect the highest standard from government service. Government. So our government try to do their best their best to our people, the public. 저희 국민은 정부에 대한 기대치가 굉장히 높고 정부 서비스의 최고 기준을 예상하고 있습니다. Like that, our public is very demanding and we quite expect the highest standard from government service. Next one, 저희 국민은 our public is very demanding and then 예상하고 있습니다. So expect the highest standard from government service. Then correct one sentence. 오케이. 그것이 바로 열쇠입니다. That's the key. 네, 저희가 이렇게 대응하는 so our response to this 그것이 바로 저희가 이렇게 대응하는 열쇠입니다. 이렇게 대응하는 so this is the key, the drive of our response to this. Okay. That's the sentence. Okay. This one more time.
Well, I think this is being faithful to the values of our very vibrant democracy, which is open and the government fully in the service of the people. And I have to say, our public is very demanding and expects the highest standards from government services. And I think this is the key, the drive of our response to this. Many more.
Okay, next one. 우리 상황을 주시하면서 so we watched very closely and then 저희 약속하고 있습니다. So we are committed to. We try to the best. So we committed to. So 접근 방식. So we are committed to maintain our open approach, right? So we didn't shut down. We haven't done any shutdown because we just open. That's a miracle. So 우리 상황을 주시하면서 저희 열린 접근 방법을 약속하고 있습니다. So we are watching very closely and we are committed to maintaining our open approach. Okay, let's say together. 3, 2, 1. We are watching very closely and we are committed to maintaining our open approach. So why? 적용할 수 없을 것입니다. Why 적용할 수 없을 것입니다? Yeah, this one. It may not be applicable. So what kind of technology? So 모든 나라에 적용할 수 없습니다. It may not be applicable in other countries. So So which country? IT 인프라가 다른 가치들이 되지 않는. So IT 인프라. So a poor of IT infra, some countries, so poor of IT infra, because they can build any phone app. Because in Korea, so I'm sure so every people has their own smartphone, and so we can monitor all the people use the smartphone. That's the IT infrastructure. However, some country, for example, Africa, there's no smartphone, so it's impossible to track each people. So less IT infrastructure and the other value. So this one. 이런 방식이 IT 인프라가 저희만큼 되지 않는 나라들이나 다른 가치들이 있는 나라들 모두 적용할 수 없습니다. That's the key. So why Korea haven't done the shutdown. So it may not be applicable in other country with less IT infrastructure and other value. So, okay, say together. 3, 2, 1. It may not be applicable in other countries with less IT infrastructure and other value. Okay. Last two. 하지만 결국 마지막에 우리는 신종병원군이 전 지구적 건강 위협으로 번지는 일이 이번이 마지막이 아니라는 지식을 획득해야 할 것입니다. That's the keyword. But in the end, we have to acknowledge, we have to know that this is not going to be the last time, right? This is not going to be the last time. What kind of last time? Another pathogen become a global health threat. global health threat. Okay, understand? Okay, let's say together. But in the end, we have to acknowledge that this is not going to be the last time another pathogen becomes a global health threat. Okay. The last sentence. The she emphasized, she announced all nations on earth. Like, I can't tell what how many incidents, how many violence I get report. She got the report from that kind of the incident and then some violence of Asia, not just Koreans, including Korean, so not all Asians, but being verbally abused. What's the verbally? Verbally means to say something, but bad. So verbally abused is the bad word. Bad words like the F word. F word is the verbally abused. Even physical attack, they got the attack. They got attacked. So that's really big because so coronavirus doesn't have any passport. Coronavirus doesn't have any religion. Also, coronavirus doesn't have any racism. So even though Caucasian, they can injured, they can infected by coronavirus. So in other country, and this government have to take the responsibility. That's right. So people of some country, they just verbally abused and physically attacked. However, that responsibility that each government to stop this kind of incident, because that is not helpful to make the spirit of the collaboration. So world is one. World become one. So we have to work together. We have to help together. Don't fight each other. And then absolutely we need to overcome this challenge together globally. And this is her message. So world become one. World is become smaller. So we have to help each other. Okay. So I'm sure. So we overcome this challenge. And then. Okay, for today's Saturday, after this class, I hope you guys get a good time with your family. Okay, thank you and see you next week. And next week we try to another function. I'm thinking about using Zoom, Z-O-O-M. Yeah, just if you can search that, just try to search it. Okay, see you next time. Bye bye.
수고했습니다. 이게 장단점이 있구만.
네.
스카이프는